Hello, Elena. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Very happy to be in Mexico City.
Oh, me too. And I live here. I have a lot of questions for you. Yesterday, I was writing down the questions, and I noticed that I have so many questions for you
Oh,
because
perfect.
because you don't know me, but I know you. What do I mean? I remember that day when I received a crowdfunding email about a book, and I said, "Oh, because I usually support this kind of project,"
Mm-hmm.
and I said no. And today I said, why I didn't see what it's coming in that
Ah,
day. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
yes.
I remember that days when
The
this
first one. Mm-hmm.
the first book, one of Cuentos de buenas noches para niñas rebeldes, was a dream, not a book. It was a dream in that time. Um, do you remember that days?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It was a dream. It was a dream that has become so much bigger than than what it was when we started, because of course it was impossible to imagine at the time that the book would have been translated into over 50 languages and would become such a global phenomenon, right? So my hope was really to be able to have a successful crowdfunding campaign and to be able to print a few thousands of copies for the US market, because the campaign was launched in the US on Kickstarter, which is and I live in the US, so that's where the book was born. But yes, it's one of those cases when the dream really surpasses the reality.
Yeah, and it was, yes. Sometimes I don't know, but in my experience, sometimes the fear of making something new, it's bigger than the dream itself, and sometimes you don't give the first step because you are afraid of it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you move the curtain of fear, you find an amazing world, like a Wizard of Oz, like arriving to us and watching an amazing new world. And that happened with these books, because it was amazing, the response, not only with girls.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody get hooked and loved these amazing women in the first book. And
Yes.
and 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 after this first book became many more books, and a huge project that I think grows naturally. It grows in each book. It becomes more fans and more other publishing houses that wants to make
Yeah.
something like you did, and and
Yes.
and and this is truly amazing, because
Mm.
when
I think
other
it really
books
sparked a movement in the publishing industry, right? It really started a trend in the publishing industry. There are so many more books now about women, especially about real women, and it sparked a movement in readers, among customers and readers, because families really identify themselves as rebel girls, rebel family, not just the young girls, but I think the whole families, sometimes young older women, or even grandmothers, dads who want to support their children, who want to raise a generation of children who are stronger and free from gender stereotypes. So the impact that this book has had has been incredible, and it's been my biggest privilege, you know, to witness the really like the social impact that he has had all over the world, and especially, and there are some countries, of course, where this impact has been even more meaningful, and I think Mexico is one of them. Italy is one of them. Turkey, where the book was even banned by the Turkish government 2 years ago. So I think this shows, you know, it really shows like how powerful a simple volume can be.
Yeah, and taking your phrase, when someone denies a book or denies books about, I don't usually read, I don't have this, I don't like to read, I always talk about them, about your books, because this is the perfect example of how a book can be so powerful. Not in the way like success like Harry Potter. It's like the profound and meaningful sense of a story, of a real story, real women. Not even the girls wants to be like them. Even the kids, the boys wants to be like these women, amazing women that you showed us in these books. And in time, I noticed an evolution of these books. For example, the migrant women that nobody, maybe some people loves these women, knows the work of these women, but doesn't know about the background. And this is amazing. And in the latest, in the Mexican edition of Rebel Girls, we notice a natural evolution of the volumes. We begin with something very global and very well known in some cases, like Frida Kahlo, or Jane Goodall, but the evolution of the project has becoming amazingly organic.
Yes, it's true.
But how it changes your life in the way that you can talk to us.
Yes.
Don't talk me about the Ferrari. We don't want to know about the Ferrari.
No, I don't have one. It's become my life. You know, it's really become the center of my life, because I started to travel a lot around the world, from Sweden to Mexico, to present, to meet people, readers, to present the books, and honestly, with the evolution of the project, an entire publishing, an entire media company has developed around these books. So now Rebel Girls is an empowering, is a global empowering brand, and we have a big team. We are more than 30 people. So we produce not just books, but we also produce events. We produce audio. We just launched an audio-based app with, you should try it. I think you would like it, with audio-based storytelling around this incredible women. So it's become not just a collection of books, but really a much larger media company.
It's amazing.
And of course, like, the goal and the values at the core are always the same. So the goal is always to inspire the next generation of girls, especially, to become stronger, to believe more in themselves, to to really believe that they can have the same aspirations more than anything else, and they shouldn't think that they are, you know, less worthy than boys, because we know that this unfortunately happens. Like when girls, by the time they are 6, they have already interiorized so much gender stereotypes that, you know, research now shows that by the time they're 6, they already think that they are less capable than boys. And of course, so imagine like the kind of you know, impact and the kind of consequences that believing that in your mind when you're 6 years old can have in your life. It's just it's like a gigantic burden that basically girls have to carry with them, and that we as a society are responsible for. Basically, we are, you know, putting it on their shoulders. So it's like you're starting off a race, and your friend next to you has no weight on his shoulders, and you have like a ton of weight. So of course it's going to be you know, more difficult for you to win, or even to get to the end. And I think this is what, unfortunately, what we do as a society still. So but of course, you know, I think younger families, new generations, they are more aware. They are changing their the way that they raise their children. And I think so these books respond to that need, right, of exposing your children to a different kind of storytelling around gender, and especially around women.
Wow, it's amazing how this first idea that you have becomes in such a powerful message for everybody, not just for girls. And about this, I noticed that the local editions, like the Mexican or the South American or the Argentine edition, shows the huge impact of women in small communities. Because if you watch closely to the different countries, the circumstances are different too. And in the case of Mexico, sometimes the poverty or the circumstances are a heavy bag for women, more than in other countries perhaps. But it shows how the circumstances can be reversed with solidarity and with the community to help each other.
Yeah. Oh, there's one story in the Mexican edition that I particularly love, which I think is a perfect example of what you just described. And it's the story of Las Patronas, this one. This group of activists who have been helping and are helping, especially immigrants, right, traveling by train or by car, and preparing food for them and handing out food for them. And I think it's just the perfect example for the kind of impact that you were talking about, local, but at the same time with this global meaning and power.
Yes, and in this volume, we see closer women next to us, close with our community. Some are our friends or the people that we see on the media or in different kind of circumstances, but we are close to them. They talk our language and they represent us very, very powerfully in the Mexican edition. I think it's a great idea, and this was the best step that you could make to show the girls and the boys and to everybody, because as I said at the beginning, these books represent for everybody, not just for girls. The title is very, very powerful, but the side effect of it is a lot of men uh, giving the proper weight to all these women, and to understand better us as a society, as a community. But but I have a question watching all the biographies. Do you think women has changed the way that they protest? For example, from Marie Curie or Frida Kahlo to J.K. Rowling, all the women have a different way to protest about the rights and the way that they work on the community. But do you think it changes in time?
Yeah, I think it did. I think that today, I think the most striking difference has been the use of the internet as a means of not just protest but also connection, because women can connect to each other way more easily today than what they used to do in the past. And I think this is making it so much easier for them to find their own people, to find their own communities, to amplify their message. Clearly, much of the success of this book series is connected to the internet, to having this wonderful network available where you can. Because sometimes I even think of my work as a form of, especially when we launched the first volume, as a form of protest against the traditional way that books come to life. It's like this is like artists and writers, creative people can really use the power of the internet, the power of resources like crowdfunding platforms to bring to life independent projects that maybe they couldn't bring to life otherwise in a more traditional way. And then who knows, maybe as in this case, make them then become really part of the cultural conversation. So yeah, I mean, I know that there is a lot of talk around how social media are still unfortunately dangerous for women, for young girls, especially for for young people. They can mess with your head, and but they are still this amazing tool that can be so powerful for creative freedom and creative expression.
Of course, and how the time changed, but also the way that these first women opened the way to this rebellion, to make easier to the next generation, in the way that we look for a better life for everybody. Because if women have a better life, everybody's going to have it. If a woman or a girl becomes a scientist or an artist or whatever, it touches all the society, not only women. It's good for everybody, and I think we need to to notice that, to make profound changes. Do you have any favorite rebel girl?
Yeah, I mean, I have so many of them. There's so many now featured across the book series that it's always very, very hard to choose. I mean, yesterday I went to see Frida Kahlo's Blue House, and so Frida is of course right now is the first name that comes to my mind. Also, like, she was in the first volume, featured in our first volume, and she was honestly, she's always been one of the biggest inspirations behind Rebel Girls. I remember that her portrait was one of the first portraits that were included in the book. It was one of the first portraits that were available since the very beginning on the crowdfunding page. You could see that she was one of them. So clearly she's been so important for this project, and to be able to see her house, the Blue House, yesterday for me was actually a very strong emotional experience, because you can see it's so powerful to see her work and some of her paintings in the same space where she used to make them and where she used to live, and where like so many things happened. And it's almost like, in a way, and also it's a story that I, of course, now I know so well, because it's I've seen movies, I've seen documentaries about her, I've seen shows about her, and then I wrote about her, and so it was almost like really being with her there in a way. So it was very strong. So probably I would say that yes, she is my favorite.
All this is that everybody sees something different in your books, and different motifs to love it. How did you do it? Because it's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you. Because I think that this book really combines many different aspects all at once. I think that yes, there is of course an educational aspect, because it's like you go, it's a journey through history, right? And so you are able to see this amazing variety of professions, of careers, of experiences across time and also across space, because it's a lot of different geographies as well. It's a very international collection. So I think that's also why it's easier for people with very different backgrounds to find a piece of themselves reflected in this book. And also I think that the choice of having illustrated portraits makes the book more accessible for everyone, because it's easier to these women become more immediately relatable. And so even if they are giants like Frida, then you have this illustration, and you have like this short story that is written in the style of a fairy tale that makes it immediately sound familiar and closer. So I think the style also of the storytelling, the style of the choice of the once upon a time, the choice of the bedtime story format applied to the biography, basically, is one of the magic ingredients of the book.
And I have a last question or asking for you. I would like to suggest a rebel girl for the future. Take a note. Her name is Elena Favilli.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, maybe for the Italian version.
No, I think it's for everybody. And I truly said it because you made a huge things with it. You make
Thank you.
it amazingly. So I want to thank you about this amazing idea and to don't give up to make it as a real rebel girl.
Thank you so much. Gracias, muchísimas gracias.
Gracias a todos y bienvenida a México y muchas gracias.
Gracias, gracias. I'll see you soon.
See you soon. Bye bye.
Bye.